I made Howard pay for what he wants. You made him pay for what he doesn't want.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 savage burns from classic Hollywood movies.
You can leave in a taxi. If you can't get a taxi, you can leave in a huff. If that's too soon, you can leave in a minute and a half.
For this list, we're looking at the most utterly sublime cinematic insults, put-downs, and brush-offs to come out of the classic Hollywood era. To keep the list old Hollywood focused, we're only including movies made before the year 1970. What's your favorite classic movie insult? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10. Wipe my mouth of human bondage. When Bette Davis stormed across movie screens in 1934's Of Human Bondage, she was still finding her footing in Hollywood. Still, it was her performance as the cold and manipulative Mildred that really put her on solid ground.
You disgust me.
Me? I disgust you!
Mildred spends most of the movie using and abusing a medical student named Philip, whose infatuation with her leaves him vulnerable to her cruelty. As she verbally eviscerates him in this now iconic scene, Davis's Mildred lays into every single insecurity he has.
I never cared for you, not once. I was always making a fool of you. You bored me stiff. I hated you. It made me sick when I had to let you kiss me.
It's such a vicious tirade that Philip can do nothing but stare dumbly at her. Audiences of the era were probably just as stunned.
And after you kissed me, I always used to wipe my mouth. Wipe my mouth!
Number 9. Alligators have the right idea. Mildred Pierce.
You think just because you made a little money you can get a new hairdo and some expensive clothes and turn yourself into a lady. But you can't. Because you'll never be anything but a common frump whose father lived over a grocery store and whose mother took in washing.
This classic noir melodrama starring Joan Crawford about the perils of mothering a spoiled brat is chock full of sassy one-liners and bitter resentments between mother and daughter. But it's Eve Arden as the leading lady's no-nonsense spinster friend Ida who gets what is arguably the movie's sickest burn.
I want my daughter back.
Personally, Vita's convinced me that alligators have the right idea.
Ida's quip about alligators eating their young gets at what we've all been thinking throughout the film's entire runtime. Vita Pierce is a rotten egg if ever there was one, and Ida is just as sick as we are of watching Mildred try to win this girl's affection with money and expensive gifts.
Vita, I think I'm really seeing you for the first time in my life, and you're cheap and horrible.
Number 8. You clinking, clanking, clattering collection of collisionist junk. The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz is one of those movies that's always a bit more terrifying than you remember. When Dorothy Gale and her friends finally meet the wizard himself, he takes the form of a floating green head shrouded in flames. And honestly, he's kinda rude.
I am Oz, the great and powerful. Who are you? Who are you?
He takes turns insulting each one of them, and does so with a style all his own. His savage yet poetic takedown of the Tin Man is one for the books.
You dare to come to me for a heart, do you? You clinking, clanking, clattering collection of collisionist junk?
There's just something so satisfying about an alliterating insult. We're left impressed more than anything else.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Frightening him like that when he came to you for help!
Silence, whippersnapper!
Number 7. But I can't see the stove. Duck soup.
Not that I care, but where is your husband?
Why, he's dead.
I'll bet he's just using that as an excuse.
I was with him till the very end.
No wonder he passed away.
I held him in my arms and kissed him.
Oh, I see. Then it was murder.
Groucho Marx was renowned for his ability to breathlessly fire off one quip after another. That is never more true than in this 1933 madcap comedy, where he plays a president who is more concerned with wooing a wealthy widow than preventing war with a neighboring country.
Will you marry me? Did he leave you any money? Answer the second question first.
His fast-talking Rufus T. Firefly can't even manage to propose marriage without getting in a few digs. In describing his dreams of married bliss with the woman, Firefly describes coming home to her with a particularly searing burn.
I can see you right now in the kitchen, bending over a hot stove. But I can't see the stove.
Get it? 'Cause like a stovetop? It's not his first or last dig about her appearance, but no one delivers rude punchlines like Groucho. Number 6. Get permanently lost. Guess who's coming to dinner?
It's not that I don't want to know you, Hillary, although I don't. It's just that I'm afraid we're not really the sort of people that you can afford to be associated with.
In this boundary-pushing classic from 1967, Katharine Hepburn plays Christina, the mother of a young white woman who falls in love with a black man. When a racist employee makes a fool of herself in front of the couple, Christina lets her ramble only a little further before giving her some pretty detailed instructions on how to proceed with such behavior.
Then take the check for $5,000, which I feel you deserve, and get permanently lost.
In short, her services will no longer be required. From the way Hepburn twists the knife slowly and calmly to that glorious punchline, this quote has earned its place as one of classic Hollywood's quintessential stings.
Don't speak, Hillary, just go.
Number 5. There's a name for you ladies. The women.
Hey, you! Is Mrs. Fowler in here? And how? Open it up, Sadie.
Jam-packed with savage insults, outlandish fashions, and studio-era star power, The Women features a cast of talented and bankable actresses who toss off quips faster than the human ear can register.
Oh, poor Flora. Never mind, dear. Chin up.
That's right, both of them.
It's Joan Crawford's crass and unrepentant gold digger Crystal Allen who has some of the movie's most vicious punchlines. Realizing she's finally been licked at film's end, she offers the other ladies one last parting shot.
There's a name for you ladies, but it isn't used in high society, outside of a kennel.
It's a prime example of how movies made during the height of the Hays Code had to be a little more clever to land a joke. Number 4. She Looked Better Than You Do Now, The Man Who Came to Dinner. In this wartime comedy based on the Broadway hit, actor Monty Woolley hurls insults at an unlucky Midwestern family for nearly 2 hours. His character, Sheridan Whiteside, may be famous, cultured, and well-spoken, but graciousness is not one of his attributes.
I'm invited back for dinner, am I not?
Oh, yes, you are. At Christmas, I always feed the needy. Now stop oozing out, get out.
His very best burn is directed at his put-upon nurse, Miss Preen, when she chastises him for eating candy. He recounts the story of his great aunt, a woman who lived to be over 100 despite eating a box of candy every day. Then comes the stinger.
She lived to be 102, and when she'd been dead 3 days, she looked better than you do now.
Few cinematic jibes have as much build-up as this one, but that's what makes it so deliciously evil.
I never felt so much like Christmas in all my life. Don't you, Sherry, dear?
Shut your nasty little face!
Number 3. I Wouldn't Worry Too Much About Your Heart. All About Eve. Set against the glamorous and cutthroat world of the New York theater, All About Eve features powerhouse performances from Bette Davis and Anne Baxter as 2 rival stage actresses. The movie's literate and witty screenplay by writer-director Joseph L. Mankiewicz is loaded with timeless, endlessly quotable dialogue.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
One of the most incisive lines comes at the end of the movie, after Eve accepts an award for the role she backstabbed her way into, and tells her gathered guests that her heart will always be with the theater. As the illustrious grande dame Margot Channing, Bette Davis offers the backhanded compliment of a lifetime.
Nice speech, Eve. But I wouldn't worry too much about your heart. You can always put that award where your heart ought to be.
Oof, Bette Davis shade is always cold.
I don't suppose there's a drink left.
Number 2. If I Gave You Any Thought, Casablanca.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Everybody out at once.
Everyone remembers this Bogart and Bergman classic as a legendary love story set against the backdrop of World War II. But it's easy to forget just how funny it is. As bar owner Rick Blaine, Bogart gets to shoot off some of the funniest quips this side of a Marx Brothers movie.
Where were you last night?
That's so long ago, I don't remember.
Will I see you tonight?
I never make plans that far ahead.
For example, this great exchange between Bogart and Peter Lorre, who plays the oily criminal Ugarte. Sensing Rick's disapproval of him, Ugarte asks the cynical Rick if he despises him, to which Rick delivers a fantastically concise and to-the-point retort.
You despise me, don't you? Well, if I gave you any thought, I probably would.
It's moments like this that made Humphrey Bogart the epitome of 1940s cool. Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. He's a big something. Babyface. Barbara Stanwyck takes no prisoners in this pre-code drama.
He's a big politician, ain't he? He's a big something, and it ain't a politician.
Son of 1,000 fathers, the good, the bad, and the ugly. An enraged Tuco burns Blondie the best way he knows how.
You know who you are? Huh? Huh? You want to know whose son you are? You don't, I do, everybody does. You're the son of 1,000 fathers, all bastards like you.
You're going bald. Who's afraid of Virginia Woolf? George and Martha toss off insults while they wait for their guests to arrive.
I got more teeth than you have.
2 more.
Oh, you're going bald.
So are you.
As long as they have sidewalks, footlight parade. No one does name-calling classier than fast-talking 30s dames.
Now you scram before I wrap a chair around your neck. But it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Where do you want me to go? Listen, you chief stenographer. Outside, Countess. As long as they have sidewalks, you've got a job.
You insignificant square-toed pimple-headed spy. His Girl Friday. Cary Grant piles on the insults in this raucous newspaper comedy.
Who's under arrest? Listen, you insignificant square-toed pimple-headed spy. Do you realize what you're doing?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Gone with the Wind.
Sir, you are no gentleman.
And you, miss, are no lady.
The controversial 1939 mega hit has its fair share of name-calling and trash talk, but it's Clark Gable's exit line that still rings in the ears of movie fans. After nearly 4 hours of chasing the feisty Scarlett O'Hara all across the state of Georgia, the rascal Confederate Rhett Butler finally has enough of her selfishness and gives her the brush-off of all brush-offs.
Red, if you go, where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Whether it's the twinkle in Clark Gable's eye or the way he struts off after delivering the immortal line, the moment has stuck with audiences for nearly a century.
I only know that I love you.
That's your misfortune.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.